Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now this video is going to go in two slightly different ways. First of all, it's ostensibly about the sewage crisis in Scotland, the lack of investment, the awfulness, the leaks, the hundreds of thousands, millions of leaks of raw sewage into burns and rivers and streams, into the sea, into lakes and lochs, you name it. Human effluent leaking out everywhere and covering Scotland in a rising tide of sheer and utter shit. Sounds very much like the SNP are really going to town with their policies. But they're also, metaphorically, there is an awful lot of shit and filth in Scotland, and I will mention that as well. So go through the first part and we'll get to the second part, because I think generally you'll agree. But I think we'll do the first part because that's sort of the realism, and then we'll do the metaphor. And I hope that by sort of putting the two together, you're going to have this sort of contemporaneous view of the two filths in Scotland, and realise that both of them come from the same source. Anyway, we'll get into it and have a... So voters are urged to flush out the filth and get rid of the SNP over the Scottish sewage crisis. Scottish Lib Dem leader Alex Cole-Hamilton says the Nats have become spin doctors for Scottish water, while the Tories at Westminster are backpedalling on net zero targets, because they know, they've realised what everyone else realises, is that net zero is an impossible dream. It just cannot happen, and that the cost of even attempting it is so great that it will create misery, poverty and death for people across the whole country. The Scottish Liberal Democrats have urged voters to flush out the filth, as they accuse the Scottish Government of neglecting the sewage water crisis. Figures estimate more than 14,000 incidents of sewage being discharged into Scotland's rivers and lochs in 2022. That's an increase from nearly 10,800 in 2021. Now, I will just put as an aside here that those figures are only the ones that have been officially recognised and reported. They are estimated to be somewhere between 2 and 5% of the actual number. So you could be looking at there at least 100,000 a year minimum. And so over those few years, it's running into millions over the length of this government. That's a lot of shit, and it's a lot of shit coming out of the SNP as well as out of the sewers. Party leader Alex Cole-Hamilton said the numbers are likely to be much higher. Literally, I did not read that. I promise you I did not read that. As just 4% of sewage discharges are logged. I just didn't see that. I only got to that first bit. There we go. I just happened to know because we did the video on it about 3-4 months ago. That's why I remembered that. I thought that's just crazy. Anyway, he joined the deputy leader, Wendy Chamberlain MP, to visit the sewage-affected River Almond in Excrement in Edinburgh to inspect the water quality. If you can scrape the floating turds off the top, sure. The visit followed reports from residents claiming the water had become discoloured with foaming and fungus on its surface. Last year, the party raised alarm after figures revealed 50 of 89 bathing waters in the country were deemed to contain unsafe levels of sewage. Unsafe levels of sewage seems to indicate that there's a safe level of sewage. I don't believe that there should be a safe level of sewage. I believe there should be zero sewage. Imagine taking a nice, let's say a nice bowl of clotted cream, and you're about to spread it on your scone or scone, depending on how you pronounce it. I'm not getting into that's a religious argument, and I'm not going into that one. Your scone or scone, or your tea cake, doesn't matter. Beside that bowl of freshly whipped double cream is a tiny piece of human shit. You are supposed to take a tiny piece of that shit and mix it into the cream. What is the smallest amount of human shit you would be willing to put into your cream before eating it? I'm thinking none. And that, of course, is what it should be. So to have an unsafe level is, by definition, meaning there's a safe level of shit in water. I don't want any shit. The safe level is 0. Anyway, These bathing waters, they included Lower Largo Beach in Fife, where levels were at least 50 times over the safe limit on 3 occasions, according to figures from the Scottish Environment Protection Agency. People went swimming in what is basically raw human sewage. And that, of course, is down to the SNP. They're in control. They keep telling us how wonderful they are, how marvellous they are, and they expect people to go in and swim in the human faeces that their government is literally pumping out. The contamination is typically caused by heavy rain, which leads to sewers overflow or washes animal faeces from farms into the waters. Mr. Cole Hamilton said neither the SNP nor the Tories seem to care about preserving the invaluable natural habitats on which we all depend and enjoy. SNP ministers have become spin doctors for the government-owned water company that pockets bumper bonuses as our rivers and coastlines are destroyed. Why are these people getting bonuses at all if they're employed by the government? There should be no bonuses. There should be a salary, and that's it. And it isn't a bonus for not screwing up. You should be getting the getting the firing if you do. That's the better way, Look, you're on a good wage. We're not going to pay you a bonus if you get your job right. But you screw up, you're down the road. That will concentrate their minds. Anyway, he said this country sewage scandal is inextricably connected to the climate emergency. It's not a climate emergency. You haven't banned private jets. There's no emergency until you ban private jets. Anyway, and he goes on about that. He says, we've seen a Prime Minister who has backpedalled on key measures for reducing fossil fuels and a Scottish Government which repeatedly misses emission targets. It's time to flush out the filth of the SNP and Tory neglect. What do you propose instead of fossil fuels? Because you just don't have... If you stop all fossil fuels tomorrow, country's finished. Done. Dead. People die. Immediately. So stop with the bullshit. Stop with the bollocks. They're all at it now. The Lib Dems are at it. They can't help themselves. Anyway, I'm just going to go on there. We've had that. That's part of what it is. But I'm going to suggest as well, this flush out the filth and get rid of the SNP. I'm going to take, this is the metaphor that I'm going to say. Yes, we do. Because we do need to get rid of the SNP Greens because of all the filth. One only has to look at Kerr, who's currently doing time for being a PED. You have Patrick Grady, the toucher-upper, of course, of other people's children. You have Jordan Linden, another one who likes to touch up other people's children. You have Patrick Harvey, who likes to share a platform with men who want to touch up and do much worse to other people's children. You have Maggot Chapman, a woman who wants to sexualise other people's children, who wants to inquire what they think about when they're touching themselves. And she wants to ask this of 5-year-olds. They're all riven through and through, and there's more of them. There's names I know, I've been told in confidence from people who definitely know, but I can't say, and boy I want to. Boy, I want to really say. But there's loads of them. It's riven at every level through the SNP and the Greens. And they truly are the filth that needs to be flushed. They need to be exposed. They need to be treated like the pariahs. They need to be attacked in the street, verbally, not physically, but called deviants. When you see Patrick Harvey, he's a deviant. He supports these people. It's what they do. And there's no denying it. They don't like it. They don't like the fact that people point them out for what they're doing. They hate the idea that people know that they are pro-ped, that they are predators, that they are perverts, that they are all disgusting examples of the very lowest of the low human shits. They need to be flushed out of the same sewage system that all the other turds seem to be coming out and infecting our waters with. Because at the end of the day, Patrick Harvey, for example, is nothing more than a little shart of shite as he stands there moaning that people don't allow him access to children. Coming up. What is truly weird is that so many people know what these politicians are like. They truly know about their touching-uppiness. They know about their proclivities. They know the sort of things they like. We don't know what Matheson, for example, was looking at on his iPad, but we do know it probably wasn't good. Otherwise, he'd have no worries handing it over to be inspected. So there's another one you can really add to the list, I think. And yet, knowing what these people are like, their supporters still vote for them. Would those supporters be happy to put these people in a room with their own children and leave them there alone? Probably not. Although some of them you'd probably think, yes, they might. Because they want to show how loyal they are to this disgusting, perverted bunch of peds, predators and pervs. Anyway, I shall stop there. I shall let that sit in your head and, live there rent-free. Look at these people. Know what they are. Know what they want. Know what they do. And then wonder how they have got positions of authority. Thank you very much for watching. Let's just flush them out. Till next time, stay safe, stay well. I will speak to you later. Bye.